I mean, the first word that comes to mind is tradition. Um, Even though that, there's been a lot of changes, I still think about, Duck Sanford Stadium. I still think about the crowds that are there. I think about the atmosphere that it brings, and even when I go back home, I still feel that same tradition.
Every football program hopes to leave a mark. At Auburn High, that mark was not built in one season. It wasn't built by one coach, and it certainly wasn't built by one team. It's been built over generations. Players graduate, coaches move on, but the standard still remains.
Man, I can't even put it into words. Guys like Osman Ura, DeMarcus Ware, Reuben Foster, Rashad Evans. I could go on and go. Braden Joyner. I could go on and name guys who are unbelievable football players that have wore this Auburn jersey, and it means a lot.
The names change, but every player who wears the Auburn A inherits the responsibility of representing everyone who came before him. And one day, he'll become a part of that legacy too.
Learned a lot there. I learned a lot there as being a player, former player. Also, I learned a lot there from Coach Etheridge and Coach Guzman and Coach Wag and those guys. I took our practice plan. We do similar things practice-wise to try and keep the guys more fresh. So we go out there and work hard, then we get more fresh. Then we do a lot of walkthrough stuff of that nature. So I've taken things from there that I've learned on the way.
Legacy isn't about where football takes you. It's about what football leaves with you. That's why so many former Tigers have come home, not just to remember the program, but to help build the next generation.
Just represent the A. A lot of people say it in a lot of different ways, but this your hometown. Even now, when you're playing your rivals, the teams that you play all the time, the Opelikas, the Centrals, the Smith Stations, I still get calls from my teammates. It never dies.
It is a brotherhood that lasts forever, and now we're husbands, we're dads, we're fathers, and we get to share all that together from where we started when we were, 15, 16. Some of us since second grade, we're still talking. And that lets you know how close. Usually you don't talk to your second grade, homeboy. You don't get to talk to your high school people that you graduate with. But our bond and that fraternity of I wouldn't say fraternity, I would just say a group of guys of football sports guys. There's not even words I can even put on it.
Those lessons are passed from coach to player, and then from player back to coach. That's how traditions survive.
There's always somebody bigger, better, faster, stronger, and tougher than you. But that don't mean they can outwork you. That don't mean that when y'all get face to face, whether it's at a spelling bee, whether it's at a bike meet, whether it's at a car race, whether it's wherever, don't mean that they're better than you that day. They can be better on paper, they can be better in their news, they can be better in rivals, wherever they're from. But when y'all get face to face, that don't mean they're better than you that day. And that's one thing that Coach Hutt has always taught me was there's always somebody bigger, faster, and stronger than you until they meet you that day.
The goal has always been bigger than football. Football simply becomes the classroom. Character, leadership, accountability. Those last long after the final whistle.
Got to Ole Miss. We had summer workouts. Kind of not really the same because it's more intensified. You're more tired because you got school too. But just getting through and competing During the conditioning part, it pushed you to another limit in college, but it prepared you. Auburn High prepared us for that, just that mental aspect of it, and physically. But mentally, you can't just get that just by not doing anything, right? So Auburn High definitely pushed us to be ready for that mentally. As you see physically, that's the standard, right? Auburn High physically, that's gonna be the standard, but mentally, it showed up then.
Number 18, Cody Ford on the reverse and right in.
Talent gets attention. Culture sustains success. That's why the expectations never change. Every team writes its own story, but every story begins with the same foundation.
Big team, little me, right? And it drove the meta point that the team is always more important than the individual. So having the guidance to ensure that the collective was bought in, ensure that the collective was on the right page and on the right track was super important back then, and it followed me throughout my life.
For months, we watched this team prepare. We've seen the work, the sacrifice, the brotherhood, the blue-collar mentality. Now, the rest of the story belongs to them.
I feel like it's the brotherhood. Like, they don't understand that, like, we are actually a team. You know, it isn't about, like, one guy. It's about the team. And I feel, you know, I'm not saying other schools, but, like, other schools, I feel they make it about one person, two person. You know, Auburn, when you talk about Auburn, you're talking about Auburn as a whole. You're not talking about one person. You're talking about how good are we team with.
This is the best team to come out of Auburn. That we're gonna get that bloom out. And this team was full of dogs. You know, everybody on this team played a part for what's gonna come.
That the 2027, this year is gonna be a show that we're about to put off. Yes, sir.
I feel like number one is win a state championship this year. The school hasn't done it, and I feel like it has to be done, and I feel like this year's the year, and that's my goal. So this year, I plan on winning a state championship and bringing one back to the school.
And now the journey begins for the 2026 Auburn Tigers.
State championship. You know, there's no doubt. You know, we can win a state championship. If we stay healthy, we do the little things right, you know, we got a chance. And we know there's some great football teams out there. You know, Thompson's got a great football team. Hewitt-Trussell's got a great football team. You know, Central Phoenix got a great football team. Opelika's got a great football team. We got to play the best of the best all year. Prattville, you know, we got to play Carver. You know, there's some great football teams out there. But, you know, when you're talking to them, they're going to put Auburn in that group too. So, you know, we got just as good of a chance as any. You know, I think that is the expectation here. You know, I've never went into a season not expecting that, and I think that's, you know, I think that's why we've been successful. You know, we're just looking to put that first blue map in the trophy case for football, you know, up there in the athletic building.
The standard for Auburn High football is faith before failure. You can fail as many times as you want to, but if you have enough faith to get up each and every time, eventually the word failure goes away and your faith becomes so strong that no matter what you put your mind to, you always win.